So you decided to learn Chinese. Or maybe you've been trying for a long time but nothing stays in your brain. Or maybe your company is sending you to China in 1 month and you've been trying very hard to learn something, but it's just not going well. Well, the good news is that you are not yet completely f***ed. Some 10 years ago, I decided to learn Chinese and then I did. Sort of. You never really stop learning because the language is always evolving. Like if you think about your native language, it's also changing, which is great. You will never be bored. There's this common misconception that Chinese is an extremely hard language to learn, but it really isn't. It just requires you to tune your brain in to some different factors, pay attention to some different things. I am assuming here that you are a speaker of a language that uses some kind of alphabet. When learning Chinese, you don't need to pay attention to complicated grammar because alphabet is essentially what facilitates it. The first thing I find very difficult when learning European languages is the conjugation. When you cannot add prefixes or suffixes, there is essentially no conjugation. My Korean teacher, when she found out that I speak Chinese, she was like, oh, okay, this will be easy for you. It really wasn't, because Korean is using an alphabet, and it's called Hangul, and it's beautiful. And because it uses alphabet, the grammar is complicated. In Chinese, things like mood and tense are largely understandable from context. And this is something you learn with time because it largely comes from your confidence as a speaker and your feel of the language. It's not something you can really cram from a book. And same goes for inflections. Chinese doesn't have plural, let alone grammatical gender. You know the das or el and la? You can forget it. Chinese doesn't have any of that. And it's liberating. It's a pain when you have to translate it back to a European language though. But that's a story for another time. So as you can hopefully see, Chinese isn't hard in the ways that we understand the language. So here's some practical advice for if you want to start or if you haven't been able to figure it out for yourself, because I know the beginning is hard, but you can figure it out. Once you start, it's like it sort of rolls. Number 1, radicals. Chinese characters can be broken down into parts. Those parts are radicals. You might be thinking, why on earth would I learn 214 radicals when some of them aren't even standalone characters? Well, some of them will help you figure out how to read a character. Some of them will help you figure out the meaning of the character. And it is also applicable in daily life. For example, if your name contains a very hard Chinese character, then you might be asked to describe that character using radicals. Spoiler alert, they don't write your name on a Starbucks cup in China. I would like to see that happen. Number 2. Stroke order. Maybe writing isn't your priority, then you can skip this part. But honestly, why would you? Because writing Chinese characters is freaking awesome. Stroke order isn't just for calligraphers. Stroke order is what will help you save the character into your muscle memory. For example, one of the first characters that you learn is wo. It is quite complicated when you look at it, but I swear there is a flow to it. If you try to figure it out for yourself, you would be like, okay, so this one goes sort of down, there's like a horizontal one, this one is tilted a bit more than the other one, this doesn't matter by the way. Oh, and there is a dot somewhere in there, but I am not quite sure where it was, so I will put it there. No. Once you learn a stroke order of some characters, you will notice the flow and you will notice the pattern. And the rest will come naturally. I'll also tell you that the stroke order is actually what helps translators figure out the handwriting, especially doctors' handwriting. Anyway, remember that scene from Hero when Tony Leung is writing this one character and he's like... I love that man. My point is, you can be like that. Trust your muscle memory. Number 3. do not stress about the tones. So Chinese has 5 tones. Actually 4 tones and the neutral one. And the neutral one is actually the hardest one once you start figuring it out, but whatever. But tones are also something that will come to you with time. The more you listen, the more you watch, the more you talk if you have somebody to talk to, but it's not a must. The more you pay attention, the faster you will get them. And most importantly, do not write pinyin under every text in characters. It will make you lazy and it will be your doom. Do not do that. Number 4, find the way to learn that fits you. You have wireless internet connection on your phone. Things that people didn't have 20 or 50 or 100 years ago. For example, flashcards don't do much for me, and I discovered it the painful way. But if they do for you, use Memrise or any other app for learning languages. Set your phone to Chinese. But remember your way back through the settings just in case. If for some reason you still have Netflix, I will never forgive $18.99 being cancelled. Watch it with Chinese subtitles. I managed to learn the proper pronunciation and yes, the tones, all from Chinese TV. Chinese TV is great for learning because the programs are usually in standard 普通话. That's why sometimes you can notice that dubbing was added later even though the show is produced in China. And there are always Chinese subtitles available. That goes for movies, reality shows, C-dramas, the news, everything. My favorite shows were The Rap of China, Sing China, Singer, Jessie J wasn't that one? The Voice of China, can you see a pattern here? That doesn't matter. You want to get yourself down that rabbit hole because this is what will get you addicted and this is what will teach you Chinese in the end. And it's even more fun if you know what's going behind the scenes. Additional incentive, use your newly acquired skills to Baidu that. 歌手该为什么突然不见了？ Anyway, use it all to your advantage. Do not lock yourself in that mindset from 20 years ago. You don't need all those fancy textbooks. Unless you're maybe studying for HSK, but that is really a different story and I will try to make a video about that. But language certifications are a scam. But yeah, sometimes you need them for school and for work and for your CV and whatever. Finally, number 5, and this is very underrated. Find your motivation. When I was studying Chinese at a university, I had those classmates that weren't really into it because, you know, sometimes your parents sent you to the university or you don't really know what to choose, so you choose something, you know what I mean? And you just want to grab them by the shoulders and shake them like, why would you waste your time on something you are clearly not interested in? Anyway, back in middle school, we were learning German and it was mandatory. Let me know what languages were mandatory in your country because it's actually interesting. So we were learning German and I wasn't really into it and it was very hard for me until Tokyo Hotel came. I was 12 and I was obsessed, do not judge. From then on, learning German magically became easy because I found my motivation. What I'm trying to say is, find yourself an actor that you like, a band that you like, a movie director that you like. China has a lot of great movie directors. Or find yourself a book that you want to read one day. Or a book that you want to translate one day. This is actually how I started. Find yourself a place you want to visit. Or a university that you want to study at. Find your motivation and everything will come to you like this. This goes deeper than I realized. I need to make like 10 more videos about this topic. But this is essentially it in a nutshell. And I hope it helps you because I really want everyone to understand this feeling of finally understanding your first words in a foreign language. It's amazing.
寡人听来，此战你赢在2人不和上。 是
Is that 是 I know that one.